Hello, Stuart here. Long time no see. Well, I think I have the need to tell you about my visit to ArCains. If anyone didn't know about that, it is an arcade in Liverpool now. It's actually set up by some hotel management stuff. It's something to do with the regeneration of the area, and I decided to put some sort of retro arcade there. See, so it was Bank Holiday Monday. And I thought, myself and the kids, it'd be nice to have a day out somewhere together before they go back to school and go back to work. And the arcade club was closed where we usually go. So I've heard about ArCains, and I looked at their website. It looks very sleek and very professional. And I've heard a few people being there and say good things about it. So I thought, all right, I'll go and check it out. So we drove down there. It took about 45 minutes from where we live. Ugh, I had to swallow that. It took about 45 minutes from where we live, and first warning signs were basically as soon as I walked in. Before we left, I looked at the price, and price list is there. It looks quite expensive, but it says Mondays, adults are £12 and children are £10. So with me and my two sons, both under age 16, one's older now, 7 and 9. I was expecting to pay £32. Not too bad, I thought. So up went, said adult children, and was told £50, please. So I was kind of taken back by that quite a bit, because £50 is an awful lot, considering that a family ticket for arcade club, that's for 2 adults and 2 children, is £40, and this place for 1 adult, 2 children is £50. So it's a bit of a difference. So anyway, I begrudgingly paid it, quietly begrudgingly. I didn't like make it obvious. That was like rolling my eyes in disgust how much it cost. And downstairs is very nice and presentable. Some good looking machines and stuff like that. It's mostly more like a welcoming area. And so a few games that were there, there's like a punching game, there's like a football game, you've got to kick the actual ball, there's a basketball game, there's air hockey. So I thought, well, let's start off down here. And I thought, you know what, it's good, let's show off a bit to me. So we get Dad to play the boxing game with the kids to show how strong Dad is. No, you got to pay for that game. Okay. My little one is really good. Not really good. Yeah, he thinks he's really good. He likes playing football. So I thought, you know, play the game when you've got to kick the ball. No, you've got to pay for that one as well. £1. Okay, so they got one of those basketball things where you got to throw the basketball hoops 4 in a row. We'll have a go get that, because we play that together when we go to the arcade or on holiday and stuff. But no, that's another game you got to pay for. After paying £50 to get in, you have to pay to play those games. So straight away, wasn't a positive experience. So we decided to go upstairs to the first floor, which is where most of the arcade games are. And the first thing I was greeted by was 3 staff members wrestling to pick up the seat from the Mario Kart racing game, because it's obviously just fallen off sideways. I think someone sat on it and it literally just fell off sideways, and there were 3 staff members wrestling to pick it up and try to place it back onto the machine. So again, not a great start to when you first walk into an arcade. So my first thing to do was actually try and find a game that we could all play, or at least my 2 sons could play together, before they start splitting up and start arguing about what they're playing. I thought, let's try and get a game to play together. And they had a Rambo, which is a bit like an Operation Wolf type of game with 2 guns. I thought, do you know what? Those 2 can play it. They like light gun games. Let's see how they get on. So off you go. So they started off, and they seemed to be doing okay for about 10 seconds, and then just nothing. And I actually thought that, well, my youngest son's not aiming at the screen properly. So I took it off him, took it, said, there you go. No, game over after about 20 seconds. So I'm like, try again. So click start on it. Again, after about 10 seconds, game over. So I said to him why, and he just said it's not working. So I thought, what's not working? Is the trigger not working on one of the guns? So I had a go, picked up one of the guns, shot to the left-hand side of the screen, it's fine. Moved over to the right, didn't register. Button was working, the trigger was working, just literally right-hand side of the screen. You can see a line, go down to the line, Nothing. Just didn't work. Didn't register anything on the right-hand side of the screen. Tried again with the other gun. Left side was fine. Got to the right-hand side of the screen. Didn't register. Didn't register that you're pointing at the screen. Now consider when you start the game, literally get people from the left and from the right appear, and then straight away, kill the ones on the left, and the ones on the right just kill you. Can't do anything about it. So that wasn't a great start. Walk around the corner, there's quite a few of the racing car machines. Outrun, they had a pod racer, they had Sonic Racing, they had Mario Kart, as I said. There's a few other games I never heard of, and they had Chase HQ2, and things like that. My son saw Pod Racer because I actually saw it on PC recently, and he absolutely loved it. And we also watched all the Star Wars films recently, so he saw Pod Racer and he was really excited. So he gets onto the Pod Racing machine, and I noticed the bottom right-hand side of the screen. It said solenoid error and boost button error, I think it was, or boost error. And there's a big button in the middle, which I presume for the boost. And I presume it's meant to be sticking out, but it wasn't. It was stuck in because when he was playing it, I was pressing it. Nothing was happening. If I grabbed the button and pulled it up and then pressed it, boost worked. So anyway, he was playing it and he was bashing his stuff. And I said to him, slow down when you go to certain places. And he was trying to slow down. And also the joystick, it's like two throttles as you get as in let's kind of go. As in Pod Race, two throttles like that. So you basically two throttles forward, then pull one back to turn one way, pull one back the other way. That works, and there's a brake on here. Now the controls weren't thinking, they were flopping around a lot, I must say. They were flopping around a lot. But they were still kind of operational. Anyway, I then looked at the brake, which you could hardly grab anyway. And I looked at it, and there was a wire coming from the brake. And it actually had wires in it. It was like a steel core with 3 wires in it. It was obviously meant to be the solenoid for the brake. And it just snaps off. It was just dangling. So the brake wasn't working. Next to that, my son was playing a game. What was it called? It was called Showdown. It was a bit like a Destruction Derby type of game. Again, it was 2 machines next to each other. So you obviously could link up together and play against each other. The machine on the left was on the PC post screen. So when you turn your computer on, it tells you the date and the time, how much memory you got, and your hard drives and stuff. It was stuck on that. Basically, it was stuck on that saying that the date and time was wrong, which means the BIOS was broken. Which means the BIOS battery was worn out. So literally, that could be fixed by sticking one of them in. A couple of quid from the shop, stick one of them in the machine. Not hard to do. That machine would work. But no, it was stuck there. And when I've been looking at reviews online recently, it's been like that for a while. The machine on the right, which my son was playing, he looked like he was having fun. But it was on when I was discussing with it later on, he actually said no, he said it didn't work properly. He said it was always turning left. He said even if you turned it right, it would straighten up the car. But when you put it straight, it always turned left. You couldn't actually turn right. He also said the throttle didn't work properly. So, right, great. Next to that was Sonic Racing. Now, some of these things I've got videos for, some of them I've got pictures for. And I stopped taking off the wire because the staff were getting a bit suspicious why I was taking pictures of like most of these machines. And it's because most of them weren't working. So the left of that was Sonic Racing. 2 machines again, linked together. One on the left didn't work at all. It was actually on the screen saying, I think it was force feedback error. One on the right still works. So I said to my lad, come on, why don't you get on here and have a go at this racing game, Sonic game. It's like Sonic Transform that we get on the Xbox. Gets on, go, boom, everyone shoots off. He just crawls. So I'm like, what? Is everything okay? So I get on. Throttle doesn't work. Not only does the throttle not work, but you've got buttons to actually shoot like your weapons. Those buttons didn't work either because we actually managed to get up to like a place where you get like a rocket. Press the button, didn't work. So the buttons on the steering wheel didn't work to activate the weapons, and the throttle didn't work, making it completely useless. Another game they had, which I wanted to try play with one of my kids, was Outrun. It was like a 2-player Outrun. I think what happens is halfway through the game, at certain points, you swap over. You've got 2 steering wheels, and you swap over. So, my son got on there. Press start button, nothing. Press the activate button, nothing. Press the accelerate button, nothing. Looked on the machine to see if I can actually, like, if there's a button to actually put a coin in. No. That machine was also not working. Walking around later on, I also noticed the 4 Mario Kart machines they had. The end one with the seat fell off was actually now taped up saying don't use it. The middle one had an error saying force feedback, so that didn't work either. We tried to play pole position. The screen was just rolling horizontally or vertically. I don't know. Maybe vertically on it. It was just rolling vertically. And accelerator didn't work. We tried to play Rampage. As everyone should know, Rampage is the three monsters, and you climb up the buildings, and you hit the buildings, and you knock the buildings down. One of the joysticks, the joystick I was playing with, up didn't work. So I basically could not climb up any buildings, which is essentially most of the game. There was a guitar hero there, and it was just turned on, but on an error screen. If someone to try and do the dance machine, it didn't. Literally, two of the buttons didn't work. I was jumping on it, and it didn't work. So, yeah, not good. I also played Time Crisis 3, I think it was, and it had the worst screen burn I've ever seen in an arcade machine ever. While playing the game, you can actually see the title on the screen constantly. So, not great. So we decided to go to the top floor, and the top floor had some arcade machines in there, but they mostly had their pool tables, which you got to pay for. They also had game consoles, which you have to pay to use the controller, and they had PCs. Now, my kids went on some of the PCs, and one thing I found really, really stupid was there was a sign that says no food and drink on the tables while using the PCs, and yet every single table had a drinks holder on the side of it. So, are you not allowed to have a drink, or do you want to use the drink holder? Make up your mind. My son tried to get into the game. He loaded up Apex Legends. Game booted up. Started the drop, whatever it is. I don't play Apex Legends. I think it just basically crashed. Tried playing Fortnite, I think. Same thing. Game loaded up. Tried to go to game. As soon as that game started, crashed. It just turned out there was no internet on this computer. Or if there was internet, it just crashed as soon as the game started. He tried another game, another PC. Exactly the same thing. The PC just crashed when he was trying to play. Eventually got to one that did work. Now, upstairs also was a row of these retro arcades. Now, when they say that, nearly every single one of them is an emulation. Nearly every single one. I didn't actually see any stand-up cabinets, maybe one or two, that are actually real hardware or original hardware, or even bootleg. They're all emulated. All of them widescreen, so the aspect ratio is horrible. All of them got massive screen tearing. I think I've got a video, try to show you that. So anything where you scrolled left or right, just horrible, horrible screen tearing. The joysticks, again, on these arcade machines are just horrid. There's absolutely no weight to them. And also the gate they use was horrid. It's just, yeah. If you press right, you're more likely to press up and right slightly. Even if you press like right, and you're not pressing like in the corner of the gate, you're not up there in the corner of the gate where up and if you press right there, and then went up slightly, you pressed up as well. So they were absolutely horrid, and they spun so easy. So if you press right, your hand's kind of like rolling off it all the time. So it was horrid. And the buttons, on the other hand, were so hard to press. I actually went and got the kids a drink, a little fruit shoot. It's 375 milliliters, and with weight of the plastic and everything, and the drink, it's probably about 300 grams. So I actually rested the bottle on like the A button, and it wasn't enough to press it down. So this is like 300 grams of force, so to say, on one of the buttons, and it wasn't enough to press it. So I was playing like R-Type, and obviously you're going to R-Type, you're pressing away like this, aren't you? And I couldn't do it, because the button was so hard to press. I was having to do that. And then I found out that whoever set up the R-Type emulated the game, enabled auto-fire, so I couldn't actually charge up the main laser. So made that game unplayable. So another thing is when we went upstairs is obviously, as I stated, we got the PC games, which are on the right, and pool tables we've got to pay for on the other side. But in the middle was a lovely row of back-to-back machines, of 8 machines this side and 8 machines that side. All of them turned off. So literally the first thing you see when you walk upstairs is 2 rows of arcade machines which are turned off. So, not great. I tried to play, is it Brutal Soccer? Or Brutal Football? The Neo Geo game with the football, like the futuristic football. I tried to, and the machines weren't comfortable to stand in front of, to be honest, because they tried to copy the old style. Obviously, you got the side, and then you got the foot plate at the bottom. But obviously, the foot plate is a lot further back because the joystick panel sticks out quite far. But this one, the joystick panel and the foot plate were the same, so I couldn't get my hands in. So I put my foot on the footrest. It just felt more comfortable. And the whole machine was wobbling. I don't think it was in a case it was going to fall over. It was just wobbling so much. It was just no thought or care put into it. And so, yeah, the experience was absolutely horrendous. Nearly every single game I wanted to play had an issue which significantly affected the gameplay of it or made it unplayable. The quality of the emulated games they would have had no optimization settings put on, or the Raspberry Pis they were using weren't powerful enough. That's why we're getting screen tearing on everything. Even things like R-Type had screen tearing on. The drinks. They sell food and drink on the 3 floors, the ground, first and second floor. There's like a little bar in each one, but no price list. There was I've seen pictures in this place before, and there's like little placards there written down how much things are. They weren't there. There was nothing behind the wall, on the walls behind the bar, how much stuff was. So I went to get my kids 2 drinks. So I'll get 2 little fruit juice. I mean, things like that. £2 each. So 2 fruit juice cost me £4. Now these are drinks I've actually looked up online because I was so peed off about it. You can get them from a cash and carry for about 40 to 50p each, and the recommended retail price is 69p. It actually tells you the recommended mark on it. It should be 30%, and yet they were selling for £2 each. It's like 300%, 400% up mark on it. It was ridiculous. The kids wanted food, and they sold pizzas. I could smell pizzas, but I daren't ask how much they cost. If a fruit should cost me £2, how much are they charge me for a piece of pizza? Yeah, so yeah, not good at all. It was absolutely horrible. And it had things like, there was no soap in the toilet. So went to the toilet, went to wash my hands, no soap. They had hand sanitizers places. Most of them were empty. Now it's not a case of I was there late in the day. It opened at 11. I got there at 12, and it was mostly empty when I got there, so they hadn't been refilled. Went downstairs to after. You know it's not good when your kids who love playing games like this ask to go home. When I'm at arcade club, I'm dragging them out. They asked to go home because nothing was working. The machines that were there were horrible. So I thought, right, let's go downstairs and we'll play something like air hockey. Yeah, it's going to cost me some money, but I know they enjoy it. Went downstairs. No, air hockey machine wasn't working either. So we couldn't play that. Even the basketball machine, where the ball's got stuck in it. How the hell does a ball get stuck in a hoop? It was just, yeah. To me, it's almost like it's just a company who's seen the more increased popularity of arcades and thought, I'm going to cash in on that. They bought horrible arcade emulators. The real arcade machines, which they have bought, they have no idea how to maintain, and they have no interest in maintaining it. And they just think they can charge you an arm and a leg to go. And to be honest, I will never go to that place again. So you tell me if you've been there and you enjoyed it, you had a different experience. I'd like to hear if you had a different experience. Do you know what? There were so many other things that were wrong. It's just, they're the things that I can remember. If I wasn't with the kids, I was about to go out and say, I want my money back. It was that bad. After about 15, 20 minutes, I nearly went out and said, I want my money back. But my kids were trying to play games. And you don't want to start making a fuss when your kids are around. Yeah. So there we go. That's my experience of ArCains in Liverpool. Absolutely terrible. It's probably the worst place I've ever taken my kids to go to for entertainment. and I will never ever go there again. So yeah, like if you've been, you tell me what you think. I'd like to know what you think, whether you enjoyed it or not. Anyway, until next time, or until I've got something else to complain about, I'll see you later.